Welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining me on this. This is the third session, the third flower up session. We're going to be making a mixed foliage garland today. As I said before we started recording, you're probably thinking, it's super simple, Vicky. Why would we need to come on and learn about a foliage garland? Who doesn't know how to do that? But so many people don't. That so many people kind of struggle with it. I often see people on, like other Facebook groups and things like that, sort of maybe posting pictures of, a big long banqueting table in a marquee tent, teepee, or whatever you call it, with the foliage all the way down the middle and everything like that. And they're usually either asking, how on earth do I quote for this? And how on earth, what are the mechanics behind it, kind of thing. And although it's one of the simplest designs to make, it's super simple. It's actually quite quick. People kind of often overcomplicate it. I think we look at it, it looks like a lot of stuff, and that maybe overwhelms us and bamboozles us a bit, and we start overcomplicating it and what have you. So I'm here to kind of make it simple for you. I'm all about making wedding floristry simple for you. I hope you think so too. So we're gonna sort of go through a really simple way of doing that today. We're going to be working mixed foliage, so we've got some tree ivy here, the nice bushy kind, not the long tendrils. We've got some asparagus fern here. We've got some olive as well. So nice different mix. And we're going to sort of mix it all together. I'm going to show you a simple way of doing it. I know that you can buy pre-made garlands, but to be honest, they're often, they are a little bit of a time saver, but it's so easy to make. I sort of almost begrudge paying for them sometimes, so I just make my own. If you needed to do it in advance, you can do it the day before and just simply pop it on the tables, and you're good to go. You can get on with other things at the venue. Just before we go any further, actually, I did mean to just sort of, because this is only our third session, our third flower up session. Seems like we've been doing them forever, but no, it's only our third one. So I wanted to just explain again how flower up works before we really started getting into the sort of nitty gritty of the foliage garland today. So yeah, flower up works. You can join it for free, as a lot of you are doing right now. Of course, if you are watching this on the recording, then good for you for buying the pass. So you might be thinking, why should I buy the pass if I can join it for free? Fair enough question. But with the free option here, watching it live, first of all, you have to turn up at the time of the live. If you miss that, there's no replay, there's no recipes, there's nothing like that. You literally just get to turn up, watch me do my thing, and that's it, which is fine. That'll suit a lot of people. But if you want anything like the recordings, the recipe, the guidance notes, anything like that, there's a couple of paid options. So you can either buy a single pass, a ticket for a single session, or you can buy the annual pass, whether you get the recordings, the recipes, there's a huge bank of trainings, everything for like all of the sessions basically, and the huge bank of trainings in the membership area cover things like, there's all sorts. There's Pinterest, there's photographing, you work for social media, there's something about branding, there's all sorts, but you automatically get all of those, all of the sessions and the recipes and everything like that in there. You also get access to the Flower Up Facebook group as well. So after I've done these free lives here, I go live in the exclusive Flower Up Facebook group, and I share a few extra tips and answer any questions the members have got there as well. So there's a lot of benefits of buying the ticketed options basically. But whatever it might be, whether you've turned up for free or whether you bought one of the passes, whatever it is, I appreciate you guys turning up. And honestly, there's no better feeling for me than, that what I'm doing is well received, and you guys are turning up and you're enjoying it. It's so you tell me, and the sessions are really useful for you. So really appreciate you guys turning up, whether it's paid or otherwise. So thank you so much. of course, if you do need any extra help, if you decide you maybe need a few more questions answering, or you need some help with your business on a one-to-one basis, whatever it might be, I've got a couple of one-to-one options for you. You can book a power hour in with me, or I do something called ATM, which is like a monthly service where you get unlimited access to me throughout the month. You can message me at any time about anything. We'll get a one-to-one every month over Zoom, and it's really worthwhile. So a couple of one-to-one options there should you decide you need any extra help. Well, let's get cracking with today. Let's get to the juicy stuff, Vicky, I hear you say. So foliage garlands. So you can, we're doing mixed foliage today. You don't have to do mixed foliage. I just thought I'd show you how to work with different sort of materials. Sometimes you might have a picky client who wants a particular type of foliage all the way through. Even though it would look amazing with whatever you provided, but we're doing mixed today. But the same sort of method still applies. So just to reiterate that, so we've got some of this nice bushy tree ivy. You can buy this sort of stuff in bunches. Sometimes it has the nice berries on there, which is nice, when you get it at that time of year. I never know how to pronounce Cetaceous, asparagus Cetaceous. I can never pronounce that one. And olive, love it. So essentially, it's super simple. We're essentially making bunches and tying them together. That's all it is. All it is. There's a number of different ways you can tie them together. A lot of people think that you have to perhaps go to, thank you, Helen. A lot of people think you perhaps have to get like a measurement of a staircase and have a bit of like a long bit of string or something like rope or something to it to actually attach all of this to. That's fine if you want to do that, but it's not necessary. I mean, sure, you'll need the measurement of wherever you're putting them in, but you don't need to have like a long bit of rope or anything to kind of attach it to. So that's one sort of thing that I've found. It's something that some people ask, but you don't need that. So anyway, so I've chosen these foliages because they've got lots of nice different textures. Sorry, this has still got a beastie on it. So, but the bonuses of working in floristry. I've chosen them because they have quite different textures, and hang on, just let a couple of people in. And I think that just works really nicely together. So essentially, these are great because it's a nice bushy texture with a broad leaf, and I love the woody stems on these. It makes for a good sort of super sturdy sort of base, if you like. So essentially, got my olive here. Just going to pop that. We're literally just laying it on. We're not hand tying it, spiraling it, anything like that. In fact, I might put that towards the front. There we go. So you can kind of see that there. I'm going to put a nice big bushy bit of this asparagus in there as well. And then maybe another piece of the ivy. That's it. Now, just let that person in. So there's a number of ways you can tie this together. You're going to want to make your first bunch like that. You can use cable ties, zip ties, whatever you call them where you live. Twine, paper covered wires, often good, whatever color, doesn't matter. Or real wire. You could even use, some stub wire. Can't really see that there. It's just some normal lengths of wire. I'm going to use today just the cable ties, just for ease, really. If you're particularly eco-conscious, you might not want to use the sort of plastic sort of elements of that. So maybe something like the wire, which is I guess a touch more biodegradable, would work. You could use twine, but to be honest with you, I personally find that takes a bit longer. So we've got our bunch there. Just there was a way of kind of showing this on the ground, really. So if I show you show you this here. So that's our first length. So that's about like a foot long, maybe a bit longer. And then we are going to go ahead and make another one. So it's exactly the same process again. Bit of this ivy, bit of the asparagus fern. It's a bit of thunder. Can you hear the thunder? And dropping everything here. And then I'm going to add just another bit there. So what we're going to do this time, see with this first length, we just tied it together. We don't need to tie this one together. What we're going to do is basically attach it to this one. So this is why I like to keep the stems nice and long here. So we're basically just, we've got this in our hands, we've got it in the bunch, and we're just going to place it here. You can see the stems of this first bunch go quite the way down. So I'm just going to tie it about here. Using the cable tie. I love cable ties. Cable ties are just a florist's best friend, aren't they? Or zip ties, our friends across the pond call them. I think everybody knows what it means anyway, don't they? Make sure it's nice and tight. Give that a snip now. Just, oh, snip it later, whatever. So now you see we have an even longer length. Is this kind of making sense so far, guys? Just hope you can see it there. So now you've got like a couple of foot long length here. And what we're going to do is just keep going. Sorry, there's an ambulance going past on the main street. I hope you can hear, can't hear that noise. So yeah, we're going to get some more olive. Some more fern. Pop a little bit more ivy on there. I've got a little bit left over. Olive, I'm going to stick that in there too. And again, we're going to tie that. Anybody who's just joined, if you want to pop yourself on mute, please, otherwise you'll appear on the recording. So we're going to pop that on again, for those of you who just joined, we're kind of just making bunches and tying them together. So this is our third one here. We haven't tied this at all. We've just bunched it together in our hands, and we're going to attach it basically to these longer stems here. Obviously, when you're doing it, you wouldn't hold it up like this. You know, you probably do it on your bench, but I'm just holding this up just for the camera for you. So tie your new bunch to the stems of your old bunch with a cable tie, wire, whatever you've got, whatever you like to use, whatever you find quick. If you just want to pop yourself on mute, whoever's just joined, please. So here we go. This is quite a bushy one. So now we've got about, I don't know if you can see on the camera there, but it's even longer now. So we're basically, what we're doing is we're just going to continue the process for as long as you need it. But that's taken me, what, 5 minutes max. Oh, I'm just going to make sure. There we go. So we've got the end. And just to show you kind of for scale, that's it next to my bottle of water here. So I'll my bottle of Evian, so it's quite a bushy one, this one as well, largely due to the fact that we've used this nice tree ivy here. So something like that, sorry, I'm putting the camera all over the place here, but something like that could go right along the length of the table. You know, if you found like I personally think that bit's a bit too bushy, I can cut that off, you know, and lower it down a bit. And yeah, just keep going along the length. So you see how super simple that is. Yes, Anne-Marie, you mustn't have been here when we did it. So I'm going to just snip that off and do it again, just to show. Oh, or do you mean like at the end when you've? Yeah, I think I know what you mean. So you would essentially do the same. I've got no more ivy left, but you would essentially do the same. You know, make yourself a bunch. And simply attach it that way instead of putting it on that way. You're attaching it to the other end, sort of in the other way. So that's how you would finish it off. Another way, an even simpler way, because quite often I see these posts and people are like, how do I do this? What's the mechanics behind it? And they are super overcomplicating it. When in fact, a lot of the time, you literally just need to lay some foliage on the tables. That's absolutely fine. You know, something like this, the asparagus fern, for example. You know, you could literally just, you know, if you've got sort of cups and bottles and things like that, you know, you could just literally, oh, can you see that? You could literally just sort of lay it on the tables like that. Quite often, that's just what people want. I'm going to go live in the Flower Up Facebook group in a bit to show you, talk a bit more about kind of costing this and different uses for the garland and certain flowers, etc. A couple of different methods. So if you can join me there, do. But that's a couple of ways. So that, by the way, is super sturdy. I can do this. It's really super sturdy, and you can see hopefully it's got 3 cable ties there. So I've tied the bunch there, I've tied the bunch there, I've tied the bunch there. There's no extra mechanic needed most of the time anyway. If you were using particularly sort of wilty foliage, for example, then you could perhaps use some chicken wire and moss or something like that. But to be honest, most of the time foliage is absolutely, you know, we don't give it enough credit really. It's so robust. It does absolutely fine. Something like that could lay on in a tent in a marquee all day, probably for a couple of days, and it'll be absolutely fine. I think I've just answered that one, Paula, actually, just as you were typing there. Let me know if that didn't answer your question. So yeah, it lasts absolutely fine. You could make something like that the day before if you really wanted to. Do you spray it if you water? Yeah, you could naturally. It depends on the foliage, but to be honest with you, if I made that now for a wedding tomorrow, I would just literally leave it there in my shop. My workshop's fairly cool though, so it really depends. You know, if you've got a really warm workshop, if you work from a shed at home, for example, that gets quite warm, then you're probably used to having to keep on top of things and trying to keeping things as cool as possible and panicking about you know, keeping things nice for the day. So but something like that, for me, I would literally just leave it there. I know when you buy the pre-made garlands, like from Irish Green Guys and stuff, for example, you know, you probably get them in a few days before, and they're absolutely fine. They arrive in boxes with like kind of like a black bin bag sort of sheet around them. and they're fine just in the dark. They're usually a little bit wet anyway, but you could give them a bit of a spray because it's going to be a few days. But if you're making your own, if I was, like I say, doing that for a wedding tomorrow, I wouldn't bother doing anything else with it. I literally wouldn't do a thing else. You could make it out of all sorts. Those are just foliages that I often use. Another one is russet. So that, for example, quite often that is actually enough. Just something like that. I would maybe snip the elastic band off and literally lay it on the table. There you go, Bob's your uncle. I also like to sometimes buy the, I've got some in here today actually, you know, when you can buy mixed bunches of foliage, I've got 10 bunches of mixed eucalyptus in here today, and that would be a really good one to use as well. So do we have any questions about that? Hang on, I'll just come back to the chat here. I think I've kind of, so Yvette says, I need to attach one to a 3-meter outdoor banister. Would you just attach with zip ties? I've not seen the banister, but yes, probably that's what I would do with it. I've literally always got a number of packets of cable ties in my car. I've got my toolkit in my car all the time, not just when I'm doing a wedding setup. It's literally just in the back of my car all the time. It's got all sorts. It's got the, you know, bits of wire, twine, ribbons, zip ties, cable ties, whatever you want to call them. God, pins, all sorts of things, anything you might need for installations like that. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. I know it's a super short one today. Normally we do these for an hour, but you know, we're not making a big arch today like we did last time. If you oh, hang on, I just saw a question pop up and then it disappeared. If you join in the Facebook group shortly, as you said, you would be on there. Is there a cost to that? Yes, Joan, that's the Facebook group is only for the Flower Up, the people who've bought the Flower Up, either the, I think, is it just the annual pass? I think, yeah. So you can join the annual pass on like a monthly payment plan as well. So it's super affordable, super achievable, and you can accommodate it into your life as well because it's just one session a month. So it's not like, you know, a big training program that you have to try and keep up with and you get overwhelmed with. You can buy the annual pass and that just gets you everything. You don't even have to turn up for that month if you don't want to, because it's you'll see the recording in there and you can catch up when is convenient for you. So yeah, so that's that. So Ashley, I'll pop the link in there. Knew there was something I forgot to do. So I'm just going to pop the link in there now for anybody who wants to look at the various options. And if you've got any questions, do let me know. You know, feel free to drop me a DM and just ask anything about it. I'm happy to answer questions about it. But does anybody agree? Is that super simple for you? I think it's just, this is how I make all of mine, unless it's literally just laying things on tables. I hope that's helped to demystify it a little bit. I hope it's helped to sort of simplify things for you, and kind of make you a bit less scared of them. I think people get a bit overwhelmed and a bit scared of doing these things, but it's you know, you don't need to be, guys. So I hope it's been helpful to people. Does anybody else see designs like this coming up as well? I feel like a lot of people are just wanting something simple on the tables at the minute. Not everyone, but you know, a lot of people are going for like the long sort of style table, for example, where they want more of a you know, kind of family gathering sort of, you know, nothing too formal like a round table. Everyone just piles in on a big banqueting table and they just want something along the middle, something simple. You know, bud vases, garlands, you know, bits of foliage, things like that. I'm often getting asked for that, to be honest. And I think it's great because Ashlyn, I'm going to go live in the Flower Up Facebook group and share costings and stuff as well in a minute. But if you've got, remind me, have you got the annual pass? Or have you got a single? If not, you can buy a single session as well. So you know, you can. I'm gonna. There's only so much you get out of the free sessions, sadly, because it costs money to run these things. So so I'm going to go in there and share some extra tips. Ashlyn, I've just popped the sorry, Yvette's in Venice. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Oh, I love Venice. Yeah, so Ashlyn, I've just popped the link in there for you in the chat. So have a little look at that for you. Has anybody got any questions, any feedback, anything? I would love, by the way, you know, if you guys enjoyed the session today, to pop onto the Worldwide Wedding Florist Facebook group and just share a little bit, just tell people that if you enjoyed the session, what you found useful about it, things like that, because it's one thing me, you know, talking about it, bleating on about it, but you know, if it comes from people like you, then it shows other people. Catherine, well done. Got the annual pass, fantastic. Talking too much, my throat's dry now. Fab, I think I've answered everyone's questions. So Anne-Marie's being asked for this look. Yes, absolutely. So Yvette, yeah, if you just pop it in the Facebook group, the Worldwide Wedding Florist Facebook group, that would be most grateful. Thank you. Right, I'm going to stop recording there.